Close your eyes for a second and just picture New York City.
Oh boy.
Right. If you're like most people, your brain immediately fills with this very specific, very intense sensory track.
Yeah, the noise. Always the noise.
Exactly. You've got the wail of sirens bouncing off skyscrapers, the crush of crowded sidewalks where, well, everyone just seems to be walking 10% faster than is comfortable.
Or 20%.
Yeah, at least. And you hear those garbled subway announcements, the endless low-frequency hum of traffic, and, the glare of bright screens absolutely everywhere you look.
It is the ultimate high-octane environment. Like, you step out of Penn Station or Port Authority, and it's just a wall of kinetic energy.
A physical wall.
Yeah, packed restaurants, aggressive gridlock, and this relentless forward momentum that basically just tells you to keep moving.
And a lot of the city really does feel exactly like that. I mean, it lives up to the chaotic stereotype.
It absolutely does.
But we are going through something of a paradigm shift today in this deep dive, because the reality, and it's a reality that completely transforms how you experience the city, is that some of the absolute most memorable, magical moments in New York actually happen in its quietest corners.
Yes. You just have to know the mechanics of how to find them.
Exactly. So consider us a couple of local friends sitting down with you over a remarkably unrushed cup of coffee.
I like that vibe.
Right. Because whether you're a first-time visitor trying to map out a trip, or maybe a new resident still nursing a headache from the pace, or just someone fascinated by urban spaces, we're looking at the real New York today.
No loud tourist drafts today.
Nope. We are taking our inspiration for this deep dive from the YouTube lifestyle blog New York Here.
Such a great channel.
It really is. Their whole mission is showcasing everyday places where people actually go to slow down. And what I appreciate about their approach is the accessibility.
Yeah, you don't need expensive spot tickets.
Or private rooftop access, right? You just need to understand the rhythm of the city and where to step slightly off the main grid.
But before we map out those spaces, we really have to look at the psychology of why we need them in the first place.
Oh, the New York overload.
Exactly. The concept of New York overload is incredibly well documented. Even for locals, there is a massive cognitive tax applied to your brain every single day.
I think that's what surprises people most, just how drastically they underestimate the physical and mental toll of processing all that ambient data.
It's exhausting.
It really is. You see tourists who have constructed these brutal back-to-back 14-hour itineraries.
We've all seen them.
By the afternoon of day 3, they're sitting on a curb in Times Square looking completely shell-shocked.
Because their nervous systems are redlining. Our brains didn't evolve to subconsciously track thousands of fast-moving strangers, flashing billboards, and erratic taxis all at once.
No, not at all.
So when you try to push through that without a break, you hit a wall. But the mistake people make is treating relaxation in New York as a binary choice.
What do you mean? Like it's all or nothing?
Yeah, exactly. They assume they either have to flee the city entirely or, retreat to their hotel room and pull the blackout curtains.
It's the maximize every single minute trap.
Yes.
But think about it like driving a car. If you were constantly operating with the tachometer in the red zone, just revving the engine through Midtown crowds, it's not just that the engine is going to overheat.
Right.
It's that when you're driving like that, you stop actually noticing the scenery. You are just surviving the drive.
Surviving is the perfect word for it.
So finding a 20-minute quiet spot isn't wasting vacation time. It's shifting into neutral. You let the coolant circulate, you bring your heart rate down, and suddenly you have the capacity to actually enjoy the museum or the dinner you have planned next.
And part of letting that engine cool down requires a shift in expectations, too.
Okay, how so?
Well, if you go searching for total pin-drop silence in Manhattan, you will fail.
Oh, absolutely. The ambient roar is always there.
Always. You'll always have the faint rumble of the subway beneath your feet or a helicopter overhead.
Right.
What we are actually looking for is reduced intensity.
Mm-hmm.
We want spaces that dramatically lower the volume and the visual clutter, even if they aren't soundproof vacuums.
Let's put that into practice, because this is where the urban design gets fascinating.
Oh, I love this part.
You don't even have to leave the most chaotic parts of the city to find that reduced intensity. You can find it hiding in plain sight right in Midtown.
Yeah.
Take the New York Public Library's Stephen A. Schwartzman building.
The iconic Beaux-Arts building on Fifth Avenue.
That's the one.
Most visitors treat it purely as an exterior photo op. They take a picture with the stone lions out front, and they just keep walking.
Which is a huge mistake.
A massive mistake.
Yeah.
Because the interior design of that building is specifically engineered to change human behavior.
I've noticed this. You step off Fifth Avenue, which is just blaring with horns, you walk through those heavy doors, and the atmosphere just compresses.
It really does.
You walk upstairs to the Rosemain Reading Room, and the sheer scale of the architecture, I mean, the massive ceilings, the vastness of the space, it makes human noise feel incredibly small.
People naturally start communicating in whispers.
Yeah. Not because there's a librarian shushing them, but because the environment commands reverence.
It's an acoustic and psychological sanctuary. Plus, it's air-conditioned in the summer, heated in the winter, and it costs absolutely nothing to just sit at a wooden table and mentally reset.
And right behind that building is Bryant Park.
Yes, Bryant Park.
Wait, let's unpack this. Bryant Park is famous for being incredibly crowded with lunch rushes and tourists. How on earth is that a quiet escape?
I knew you were going to say that.
I mean, I've been there during the winter holiday market.
Oh, it's sadness.
Or on a random Tuesday at 1 p.m. in June, and it is shoulder-to-shoulder office workers fighting for a bistro chair. So, quiet escape.
It qualifies because of a golden rule of navigating any massive city. Timing often dictates the environment far more than the physical location.
Oh, okay. That makes
A
sense.
space isn't just defined by its GPS coordinates, right? It's defined by the hour of the day.
So you're talking about catching the park outside of its natural circadian rhythm.
Precisely. The midday rush is unbearable for someone seeking quiet. But if you walk into Bryant Park at 7:30 in the morning, before the surrounding skyscrapers have filled with 50,000 employees, it is an entirely different ecosystem.
I can imagine.
The gravel crunches quietly under your feet. You can sit with a coffee under the London plane trees, watch the city slowly wake up, and find genuine tranquility literally steps from Times Square.
So timing unlocks the center of the island.
Exactly.
But if we want to change the physical location, the geography itself offers a completely different toolkit. You just have to move away from the central avenues and walk toward the edges of the island.
The waterfronts. This is where urban density finally meets a natural boundary.
Right.
If you need to walk from, say, Chelsea down to Tribeca, you could take an interior avenue and battle delivery trucks and crowded crosswalks.
Which is stressful.
Very. Or you could walk 3 avenues west and hit the Hudson River Greenway.
And the change in your heart rate is almost instantaneous.
It really is. Because Manhattan is incredibly compressed and vertical. When you are on an avenue, your sightlines are blocked by buildings in every direction.
Yeah, it can induce a mild claustrophobia.
Definitely.
Yeah.
But when you step out onto the Greenway, that compression just vanishes. Your eyes can finally rest on a distant horizon across the water.
The New York Here Guide makes a really interesting comparison between Riverside Park, which runs along the Hudson, and Central Park.
Oh, this is a great point.
Central Park is obviously the crown jewel of New York green spaces, but because it's this massive rectangle in the middle of the city, it essentially acts like a funnel.
Yeah, it draws millions of people into very concentrated areas, like Bethesda Terrace.
Right, Central Park concentrates the masses. Riverside Park, on the other hand, because of its linear design hugging the coastline, it diffuses them.
You don't have thousands of people converging on one fountain.
Exactly. They are spread out along miles of pathways. At sunset, it becomes this incredibly communal but quiet experience. People just sit on benches or walk their dogs, watching the boats go by.
It's beautiful.
It almost feels like the river itself acts as a giant acoustic sponge. In a typical street canyon, sound waves from a siren or a jackhammer bounce violently back and forth off the hard, parallel surfaces of the skyscrapers.
That's why it's so incredibly loud.
But out by the river, you have this massive, flat, open surface. The sound waves just dissipate over the water. It replaces the mechanical grinding of the city with the low, gentle sound of water hitting the piers.
That's a perfect breakdown of the acoustic physics of it. The environment literally stops trapping the noise.
Yeah.
And if standing next to the water offers that much acoustic relief, actually crossing the water provides an even deeper psychological shift.
Oh, I always tell people that getting on a boat is the ultimate cheat code for New York.
It really is.
The NYC ferries are ostensibly just public transit, but they operate like atmospheric palate cleansers.
Because they provide physical distance from the grid. Taking a ferry to Astoria or the Rockaways or South Brooklyn isn't just about efficiency.
No, it's an experience.
Sitting on the top deck in the open air, feeling the breeze, and watching the skyline recede It forces a perspective shift. You're looking at the city rather than being swallowed by it.
And the Roosevelt Island tram does the exact same thing, just vertically.
Oh, I love the tram.
You lift up off the street, glide over the East River, and when you step off on Roosevelt Island, the entire frequency of the environment has dropped, especially in the morning down by Four Freedoms Park.
It's stunning down there.
It's just local runners and the sound of the wind. So what does this all mean for our brains? Why does just stepping off a ferry or tram make the city suddenly feel completely different?
Well, there's a very specific reason why Roosevelt Island, or taking a ferry to Governor's Island on a weekday, feels so jarringly peaceful.
Okay.
It's not just the water, it's the absence of cars.
Oh, wow. It's funny you mentioned cars because I never realized how much mental energy I spend just bracing for traffic.
You don't even consciously think about it.
No, but your brain is always on high alert for a taxi running a light or a delivery bike swerving.
That is your sympathetic nervous system at work. As humans, our brains prioritize tracking large, fast-moving, potentially dangerous objects.
Right, survival instinct.
Exactly. When you are in Manhattan, that background threat detection system is just always running.
Always.
But when you step onto Governor's Island, where cars are essentially non-existent, that system finally powers down.
That makes so much sense.
The baseline roar of combustion engines vanishes. Your brain stops scanning for vehicular threats, and the relief you feel is a very real biological response.
But let's say you don't have time to jump on a ferry or a tram. The beauty of the city is that you don't necessarily need a grand destination to reset. Sometimes it's just about altering the mechanics of how and where you walk.
The art of the slow walk.
Yes. Through a residential neighborhood.
This is a crucial skill. A tourist's natural instinct is to stick to the massive commercial corridors. Broadway, Fifth Avenue, 34th Street.
Shiny places.
Right. But if you just pivot 90 degrees and walk down the residential side streets on the Upper West Side, places like West End Avenue or the brownstone blocks off Riverside Drive, the urban design changes entirely.
The street wall is lower. You have thick canopies of trees. You don't have the frantic foot traffic of commuters charging out of subway stations.
It's completely different. And you see a similar dynamic in early morning Chinatown.
Oh, early morning Chinatown is magical.
It is. Now, Chinatown at 2 in the afternoon on a Saturday is an explosion of commerce and crowds.
Chaos.
But at 7 in the morning, it is a localized, sensory-rich sanctuary.
Yeah, you smell the bakeries prepping for the day.
You see older residents practicing Tai Chi in Columbus Park, or taking very slow, deliberate walks. You are observing a neighborhood waking up on its own terms, free from the friction of tourism.
You find that same lowered friction out in the Brooklyn waterfront neighborhoods, too. Brooklyn Heights, Red Hook, Greenpoint.
Oh, definitely.
The street grids are older, slightly more erratic, and the pace just organically drops. People sit on their stoops longer. There's no rush to be anywhere.
And when the weather strips away the appeal of walking, like during a freezing February afternoon or a summer downpour, those neighborhoods offer indoor sanctuaries that serve the same purpose.
Independent bookstores.
Perhaps the greatest example.
Honestly, this is one of my favorite places in the city. If I'm feeling overwhelmed, I will just find a small bookstore in the West Village or Cobble Hill or Park Slope.
To get inside.
Yeah, you walk in, it smells like paper and old wood, it's warm, and it's inherently quiet.
It's a vastly superior environment to a busy chain cafe in Midtown, where 50 people are aggressively typing on laptops, and the espresso machine is screaming.
Oh, I hate that.
Right. A neighborhood bookstore offers a tactile, slow environment. And the psychological benefit is that it's an activity without a strict destination.
That is a huge point. When you're sightseeing, you're always trying to accomplish something.
Exactly.
See the statue, climb the tower, eat the famous pizza. It's a checklist. Browsing a bookstore removes the pressure of the checklist. You are just existing in a space, flipping through pages, letting your decision fatigue dissipate.
Moving from intimate indoor spaces, though, we should talk about the spaces where New York allows nature and history to completely take over.
The big escapes.
Yes. If you really need to decompress, you have to look at the sprawling historical landscapes in the outer boroughs.
Which brings us to a recommendation that I know gives some people pause. Greenwood Cemetery in Brooklyn.
People are so hesitant about it.
Some visitors hear cemetery and they immediately think it's too morbid or inappropriate for a vacation.
It's a very modern hesitation. But to understand Greenwood, you have to understand the 19th century rural cemetery movement. Yeah. These places weren't designed to be spooky graveyards. They were designed as the first massive public parks. Greenwood is nearly 500 acres of rolling glacial hills, ponds, and winding stone paths. The architecture is stunning.
And the sheer size of it acts as an acoustic buffer.
Yes.
You can walk 15 minutes deep into Greenwood and not hear a single car tire. It is just wind in the ancient trees. Especially in the fall when the foliage turns, or the spring with the cherry blossoms, it is one of the most profound places to hear yourself think.
Another immersive historical escape is the Met Cloisters and Fort Tryon Park, way up at the northern tip of Manhattan.
It's gorgeous up there.
You have medieval European architecture, stunning gardens, and massive views looking out over the Hudson River.
If we connect this to the bigger picture, do you think visitors feel intimidated traveling all the way up to the Cloisters or deep into Brooklyn just for some quiet?
For someone rushing to check off 10 things in a day, it is a deterrent. But if we're talking about emotional regulation, that transit time is actually a feature, not a bug.
I like that framing.
The journey itself acts as a decompression chamber.
Right. You're sitting on the A train, and with every stop, you are physically moving further away from the dense epicenter of the city.
By the time you get off the train and climb the hill into Fort Tryon Park, your brain has completely shifted out of bracing for impact mode.
You've let your guard down.
Exactly. You arrive in a state where you are receptive to the environment. The space doesn't have to fight to calm you down. You're already half relaxed when you walk through the doors.
That concept of the environment doing the work for you is so prominent in the Brooklyn Botanic Garden, too. Specifically, the Japanese Helen Pond Garden.
Oh, that is a masterclass in environmental psychology. Every single element of that garden is engineered to slow human momentum.
How so? Because it's not just about looking at pretty plants, right? The actual layout forces you to change your behavior.
Exactly. Think about a standard city sidewalk. It's a straight, flat line that encourages you to walk as fast as possible from point A to point B.
Get out of my way, I'm walking here.
Right, the classic New York attitude.
Yeah.
But the Japanese garden uses winding, asymmetrical paths. It uses uneven stepping stones that literally force you to look down and slow your physical gait.
You cannot speed walk through it.
You'd trip. Furthermore, the strategic placement of waterfalls creates a localized white noise that naturally masks the distant urban hum, while simultaneously prompting visitors to lower their voices. You don't have to try to be calm. The landscape physically shapes you into a state of calm.
That is just brilliant. It really highlights how much control we actually have over our experience of this city if we just know where to direct our attention.
Absolutely.
And I think that's the ultimate takeaway here. New York City becomes infinitely more enjoyable when you stop fighting its intensity and start balancing it.
Balance is the key. No one is saying you shouldn't go see the iconic attractions.
Right, go see them.
Stand in Times Square, feel the rush of Broadway, eat in a packed, loud restaurant. But balance that high-intensity sightseeing with these slower, hidden mechanics of the city.
Because it's the contrast that makes the quiet so potent. A peaceful walk down a brownstone block on the Upper West Side, or listening to the water hit the piers at Riverside Park, or feeling the temperature drop when you walk into a quiet library.
Those are the moments.
They really are. Those deeply personal, quiet moments are often what stay in a visitor's memory long after the adrenaline of the crowded observation deck fades.
You are experiencing the city as a living, breathing ecosystem rather than just a theme park. And if you want to explore more of that ecosystem, the New York Here YouTube blog is an invaluable resource.
Oh, absolutely.
They do an incredible job documenting these realistic NYC walks, detailing neighborhood cafes, waterfronts, and everyday city experiences that you simply won't find in a standard top 10 tourist guide.
It's required viewing for anyone who wants to understand the actual rhythm of New York. So we'll leave you with the final thought to ponder.
Yeah.
The next time you find yourself standing on a crowded corner, feeling completely overwhelmed by the sirens, the screens, and the sheer volume of humanity, whether you're in New York, London, Tokyo, or any major city.
Any loud city at all.
Right. Don't just put your head down and push through until you burn out. Stop, look at a map, and ask yourself a simple question. Where are the locals going right now just to hear themselves think?
That's the secret.
Seek out that rhythm. Find the water, find the neighborhood sanctuary, and you will experience a completely different and truly magical version of the city.